Hey, Hans, nice to see you. Oh. You know, this stream overlay that I've got here is really fucking nice. I kind of like just made it, you know? But now that I'm like using it, I'm like, oh damn, like, it's actually great. I sound different today. Don't I sound different? What happened? I sound completely different. It's because I jacked off this morning. I think I'm back to sex streams every night. I had sex streams every night for like 2 weeks. Now I have sex streams again. Something's going on. Night before I had sex with an insectoid entity that I loved. Sorry. Can't remember that. I'm just imagining all the like hit pieces being written about me in the future. Like, I start gaining some popularity and they're like, hey, this guy jags off in the morning, and I don't know what else they'd say about me. I'm just imagining the news article headline: frequent masturbator starts cult. It's like, I just want to hang out, chat about stuff I like. It's not a cult. So somebody was just about to ask. What were you about to ask? About the insectoid? Yeah. I don't know why. Like, I just like immediately woke up when it just felt so real. I just noticed that my energy body was super engaged. I mean, I think there's a thing. I was kind of talking about this with someone else earlier, and it's kind of like it's like you want something to happen, and then you wanting something to happen, like getting some kind of truth or insight, or like you know, like developing yourself in some way, is like being given to you, and like you're also like connecting to it. So like you're connecting to something and then resisting it, which is not good. But it's like you could also just like firmly refuse the connection, and then you don't have to resist it anymore. But like your problem, I think people's problem is they want it, and then while wanting it and connecting to it are resisting, and it's like painful and bad. It's like I either want it or don't want it. Stop stop being ambiguous. It's like it's not a, you know, the world's fault that you are being contradictory. Like if you're like, I want truth under any means necessary, and I don't care how I get it, and I'm super open to receiving it, and I'm surrendering to it, and then it starts happening, and then you're like, I don't like this, stop. It's like, what the fuck? You just asked for that, and then it happened, and now you're in pain. It's like, I don't want to cause, like, I doubt whatever's involved wanted to cause you pain. Hey Nico, haven't seen you for a while. Hey Excel, nice to see you. Yeah, I'm kind of ranting because I feel like that kind of dynamic plays out in a lot of situations in my life. It's like, I don't know, just energetically I feel like people kind of like I don't know, talk to me, and then like want to talk to me, and then like want to get something out of it, and then they get something out of it, and they're like, ah, I got the thing out of it that I wanted. Scary. It's like, what? Yeah. Yeah, I think it's definitely it's almost like maybe a better frame actually is like there's parts of you that want it and parts of you that don't want it, and then the parts of you that don't want it are like resisting when it's happening for the parts that want it. You know, and the goal as usual is to get everyone kind of agreeing about what's the best thing to do. And for them to, well, more like for everyone to realize for themselves what they think is the best thing to do. And coming to some kind of mutual. Oh, that's a good move, Hans. That is a good move. I mean, don't be surprised if you get results doing stuff like that. Like, in terms of stuff that, like, works, being very clear about what you want and asking the universe for it when that thing is like benefiting all beings or liberation or whatever or freedom, it's like that's gonna happen. That already is happening. You're just kind of speeding up the thing that's already happening. You're like bringing attention to yourself. Yes, they kind of traumatized you. I relate. I relate. You're dissolving that and continue to let go, but your body might ask for attention and gentleness and patience. Yeah, I mean, it's important that like you feel good and aren't traumatized. You know, treating the parts of yourself that feel like it's not the right decision. Like treating them well, but like, you know, as like a member of your like internal community, as like an entity which is providing like useful information, directing love to them. It's like, you know, you kind of want everyone to be on board. So creating an antagonistic relationship within yourself isn't gonna benefit anyone. Hey Amanda, nice to see you. How's your job doing? Your job is so good. I'm super happy to hear that. That's great news. You're flowing at it. What a dream. I had a childlike feeling you wanted to feel human today. There's been coming a long time. I feel like sometimes you need relax and some energies need to move outward. Yeah. Childlike feelings I think are great. super useful to, you know, pay attention to and meet their needs. It's like, you know. Like, sort of developing ourselves such that we are more connected to internal sort of lack of judgment and non-antagonism and, like, caring. And, you know, like, appreciation for yourself and sort of, like, love for yourself and others. I feel like it's an important part of everything. You know, it's not essential, but, like, nothing strictly essential. It's like it's another thing that helps to have down. Like, it's not essential that you're happy, right? But it helps when you want to get things done, or, I don't know, just live your life. It just helps. I don't know. So. I feel like, yeah, caring for yourself and caring for others is always good. Caring for parts of yourself, you know, that are maybe hurt or in pain. Like, I would put, yeah, like, pretty much all of the most of the work that people have, like, paid me for has just been, like, you know, that kind of self-care type stuff. It's like, let's make the energy body happy. You know, it's like, for the Enlightenment stuff, that's more what I do on this stream and, like, in chats to people casually. When someone crosses your boundary, there's an energy that wants to move outward and stand up for yourself. Where some energies like doubt, they just want to expand and relax over the rest of your body. Feels more like an inward energy. I wouldn't mind putting this in the frame of directions hands. It's like some energies, because I don't really believe in, like, the body boundary super much. But I think it's fair to say that some are directed inwards and some are directed outwards. It's like a fair assumption, I guess. I mean, it's always bidirectional in some level. But yeah, seeing that sort of, like, that kind of flow as, like, the primary flow, I think that's fair. Yeah, I think it's fair, but I also think it's kind of going back and forth. It's kind of going back and forth. I know, I'm always very shouting out for complexity and stuff like that. Hey, Felix. But I mean, it's pretty useful. It's like a useful, you know, useful proxy to be like, oh, there's some things that go out and some things that go in. But yeah, I think it's also a bit of a simplification, I guess, which is fine. It's fine to simplify things. How much color these days on these drawings? Maybe you could look at it like contracted. Yeah, contracted or expanded. Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair. Yeah, contracted or expanded. Like take the whole like body aspect away from it. It's like, is it contracted or expanded? I like that. It's like expanding, and then it can like expand like over there, or it can expand like here. I mean, contract over there, or contract like here. So it's like expand over there. Ooh. Okay. Who wants to read some Zen? Who loves reading Zen here? Just me?
Always in trouble, need love on the double, spend cake in a lifetime, climbing to the level, contract with the devil, loophole, expiration date, on the side of good people, always set the record straight, round and round the piano keys, meditate, felt it in the music, need it now, can't let it wait, it's not a secret, everything is all out and exposed, going down like the water in the river flows, it's how it goes, another day, another story told, stuck inside the puzzle, searching, still trying to get a hold, forgotten souls, got lost in the cold, trying to get the freedom, now they need them, walking down the Hope Road, they said they hope so, but it was a no-go, front row stage show, well-placed logo, fancy lights and the cameras are on, but we don't care, he's just there to sing another sad love song, fade to black, soundtrack to another night.
Question. What is the meaning of nothing to perceive? Answer. Being able to behold men, women, and all the various sorts of appearances, while remaining as free from love or aversion as if they were actually not seen at all. That is what is meant by nothing to perceive. But I mean, love or aversion. Love is a bit of a strange translation here, I think. I think it's more like, you know, like positive attachment or aversion. So I'm just gonna rephrase that and reread it. What is the meaning of nothing to perceive? Being able to behold men, women, and all the various sorts of appearances, remaining as free from positive attachment or aversion as if they were actually not seen at all. That is what is meant by nothing to perceive. Like being free from it within it, right? It's like you're still perceiving it, but it's like optional how you react, I guess, or interpret it or whatever. That which occurs when we are confronted by all sorts of shapes and forms is called perception. Can we speak of perception taking place when nothing confronts us? Answer, yes. So the question is like, can perception take place where nothing confronts you? And the guy's like, yeah. Master Hugh High is like, yeah, sure, okay. I quite like having the book in frame when I read, but it's kind of... Question. When something confronts us, it follows that we perceive it. But how can there be perception when we are confronted by nothing at all? Answer. We are now talking of that perception. Wait, so when something confronts us, it follows that we perceive it. But how can there be perception when we're confronted by nothing at all? So, I mean, this is just such a classic. People ask me this on the stream. They're like, oh, nothing happens. Do you still see stuff? Like, yeah. So it's kind of about that. You know, it's like you're free from positive attachment and aversion, as if it was not actually seen at all. And he's like, oh, but when you're doing that, it's like, how can there be perception? And then yeah. Oh, this is pretty good, the answer. We are now talking of that perception which is independent of there being an object or not. How can that be? The nature of perception being eternal, we go on perceiving whether objects are present or not. Thereby we come to understand that, whereas objects naturally appear and disappear, the nature of perception does neither of these things, of those things, and it is the same with all your other senses. So it's just like, oh, you know, just because you're not perceiving mental objects doesn't mean you're not perceiving. You're just perceiving without mental objects appearing and disappearing all over the place. And it's the same with all your other senses. So like hearing's the same thing. You know, there's not like a hearer and then a heard stuff. There's just like the perception. Or the sensate data, I guess. Question. When we're looking at something, does the thing looked at exist objectively within the sphere of perception or not? No, it doesn't. No, it does not. And when we look around and do not see anything, is there an absence of something objective within the sphere of perception? And the answer is no, there is not. So it's like he's just kind of set up these questions. It's like even though objects are an objective existence in the sphere of perception, perception is still objective itself. Like mind is real. But like the experience of saying positive negative still occurs, but it's transient and essentially error. No, it's like, because you don't perceive the thing as an object, you don't get the related, positive, negative, or like aversion, positive attachment, you know, aversion or attachment to it. So it's just like, essentially it's not occurring, like it's just mind occurring, where mind is just like the raw thing, objective reality, that is like awareness or whatever you want to call it, producing the thing. Yeah. Like Zen is like just stop all conceptual thinking, stop all objectification. Your hands. Oh, this is so good. True. Huh. Test. My mic's a little low today. Question. When there are sounds, hearing occurs. When there are no sounds, does hearing persist or not? Answer. It does. So even when there's no sounds, hearing persists. Okay. Question. When there are sounds, it follows that we hear them. But how can hearing take place during the absence of sound? How can we hear things with no sound? Answer. We are now talking of that hearing which is independent of there being any sound or not. How can that be? The nature of hearing being eternal, we continue to hear whether sounds are present or not. Question. If that is so, who or what is the hearer? Answer. It is your own nature which hears, and it is the inner cognizer who knows. So he's just pointing to like the eternal nature of phenomena being like not originating in a self and not originating in the objects either. It's like even if you don't hear, even if there's no sound, it's like if there's no thought objects, it's the same thing. If there's no sound, if there's no thought objects, it's like the hearing or the thinking still persists, and it's your own nature. It's the nature of mind. It is mind that is that thing, and it's your nature which hears. Yeah, that's a pretty good way to put it. And the inner cognizer who knows, it's like it's the, you know, it's like the unborn knowing that knows. The thing that doesn't arise. It's like the arising stuff isn't the stuff that's cognizing all of it, or understanding all of it. Are there realities / configurations of mind where there are more sense doors? I feel like sense doors is a bit of an approximation. Like the idea of there being 6 sense doors including thought. It's a bit of an approximation of how things are. So kind of, yeah, I feel like you could extend out the sense door kind of metaphor to include more sense doors. But I think the reality is it's more complex than sense doors, and then it's like you can like split up the supposed thought or feeling sense doors into like a bunch of different ones, you know? It's however you want to play with it, I suppose. As to the gateway of sudden illumination, so suddenly getting enlightened without attaining anything and getting rid of deluded thoughts instantly. That's what sudden illumination is. So as to the gateway of sudden illumination. Oh, my microphone's really getting blocked by the book. No, it's so hard to get the book in frame and also talk. Okay, here we go. I'm not a fucking artist. As to the gateway of sudden illumination, what are its doctrine, its aim, its substance, and its function? Answer. To refrain well, I fucked it up already. To refrain from thinking is its doctrine. Not to allow wrong thoughts to arise is its aim. Purity is its substance. and wisdom is its function. So like the rules, the doctrine is to refrain from thinking. The aim of it, the goal of it, is to not allow wrong thoughts to arise. Its substance, so like what it's made out of, is purity, and wisdom is its function. So like the result of it, the thing that happens when it's occurring is wisdom. Question: we have said that its doctrine is to refrain from thinking, but we have not yet examined the meaning of this term. What is it that we must refrain from thinking about? It's like, oh, you want to refrain from thinking. It's like, what does that even mean? What is it that we must refrain from thinking about? Answer: it means that we must refrain from wrong thinking, but not from right thinking. Question: what are wrong thinking and right thinking? Answer: thinking in terms of being and non-being is called wrong thinking, while not thinking in those terms is called right thinking. Similarly, thinking in terms of good and evil is wrong. Not to think so is right thinking. The same applies to all the other categories of opposites. Sorrow and joy, beginning and end, acceptance and rejection, dislikes and likes, aversion and love, all of which are called wrong thinking, while to abstain from thinking in those categories, is called right thinking. So, wrong thinking, duality, right thinking, non-duality. In terms of being and non-being is a really good way to put it, I think. Yeah, it's not like getting rid of all thinking, right? It's getting rid of sort of dualistic thinking. Question: please define right thinking in brackets more positively. Answer: it means thinking solely of enlightenment, or Bodhi, is what he says. Bodhi or enlightenment, I don't know. No, Bodhi means. Question: is Bodhi something tangible? Answer: it is not. Question: how can we think solely of Bodhi if it is intangible? Answer: it is as though Bodhi were a mere name applied to something which, in fact, is intangible. Something which never has been nor ever will be attained. Being intangible, it cannot be thought about, and it is just this not thinking about it, which is called rightly thinking of Bodhi as something not to be thought about. For this implies that your mind dwells on upon nothing whatsoever. The term not to be thought about is like the various kinds of not thinking mentioned earlier, all of which are but names convenient for use in certain circumstances. All are of the one substance in which no differences or diversities exist. Simply to be conscious of mind as resting upon nothing whatsoever is to be without thought, and whoever reaches this state is naturally delivered. So that's a pretty good. It's like just just be enlightened, bro. It's good advice. It's kind of like mind resting on itself. So basically do that and wait for lightning strike, resting your mind at nothing. Well, resting your mind on nothing would be resting it on like an object, I guess, right? He's talking about resting your mind on sort of the intangible mind that's not in forms or formlessness. He's basically just saying have a non-dual mind. Like, it's like rest your mind on the intangible mind that it is a good way to put it, I think. Like he's saying, You know, it's like not thinking, you know, kind of like what he was saying before with all this stuff about all these categories. It's like, do that. That was a good session. Zen stuff is the one vehicle teaching. And the idea is, you know, like all of this stuff that everyone says is just sort of like a proxy for, or like an incorrect, or not incorrect, it's a not incorrect at all, very correct. It's sort of like an expansion of things into like a gradual place. Yeah, it's the Zen teaching of Hu Hai. Yeah. But it's like, you know, like they're saying like really it's like if you just stop thinking in duality and like let mind realize its own non-dual nature, then you're just immediately enlightened. You don't have to do anything else. And you know, the idea of Zen, it's like it's hard to enter into, but when you get it, you don't go back. Well, you know, if you're on a more like gradual path, it's like there's a lot of going back, and really like you're kind of just like warming yourself up to the thing that they're saying, which you could just do immediately, is the idea. Energy that feels like letting it flow without intentionally letting it collapse on anything. But if it happens, it happens. Maybe we use too much words here. I mean, Hans, I feel like, you know, you're becoming more, you're getting closer to the reality of it, but it's like the reality of it and doing it is what matters. Like putting it into words is kind of you know, it's a good like attunement tool to like get to the thing, but it's not the thing. Like, you know, words are never the thing. Song name, by the way, this is Farfowls. That was nice, by the way. It's going to have to read to make it really nice to listen to. Well, I like reading Zen. It's pretty tough though. Like it's pretty dense material. And it's not like I'm not coming from like knowledge of stuff. You know, I'm not just like reading things that I already know and repeating things that I know about them. It's like I have to understand it, read it, translate it. Reading it's the hard part, honestly. It's like ideally I would just read it and then just say whatever I want, but it's like I have to also act as a kind of like, you know, speaker for the book. Stuff. Please, could you just drop your playlist link? Sure. Be a nightmare if the songs can't leave my head. Maybe it'd be fun. Yeah. It's kind of easy to understand, like, non-duality in terms of all of the sort of individual dualities that you can sort of produce through examination and thinking. You know, saying it's like, it's about the observer or not the observer. Self and observer. Observer and objects and not observer choices. Like mind and objects, not mind and objects. Like good and bad, like aversion and not aversion, you know, attachment or whatever the fuck. But the thing that Zen kind of focuses on is like the nature of the mind that is non-dual. and it's like sort of directly articulating that mind and being really clear that it's like it's the same mind as the mind you have right now. Like the same mind that is perceiving things right now is a non-dual unborn mind that has no form, and is resting on nothing. Like that's sort of the Zen thing, and I feel like it's kind of missing. It's like it's kind of missing from other spiritual places. It's like they don't really articulate like mind, or unborn mind. They're good at the gradual stuff, but they're not good at like the actual thing itself. I think it's because people just aren't enlightened. They just don't get enlightened. Yeah. Yeah, but in nature, true nature, all that sort of stuff. It's like no, your mind, the mind that is like present right now in your experience, sort of as your experience, but not being like you know, not the experience. Sort of like the substance of your immediate mind. It's just like unborn, completely non-arising. Like there's no, it's not in sort of like time or space. It's just it's like a formless unborn existence that isn't in any category. And it's like basically you're noticing that your mind is the same substance as reality itself. And sort of the forms that are projected by that mind, or that mind transforms itself into, aren't that mind. Mind's the, you know, it's a thing that's being transformed. It's not the resulting transformations. And that thing that's being transformed isn't in any like dualistic categories. Karma be a gradual path has some benefits on their own, but I agree though, that's why I love to hear this stuff from you. I mean, it feels risky to only focus on instant alignment. Thing is, I mean, hang pose is the best. This mind is no mind of conceptual thought, and it is completely detached from form. So Buddhas and sentient beings do not differ at all. If you can only rid yourselves of conceptual thought, you will have accomplished everything. But if you students of the way do not rid yourselves of conceptual thought in a flash, even though you strive for aeon after aeon, you will never accomplish it. Enmeshed in the meritorious, getting merit from, enmeshed in the meritorious practices of the three vehicles, you will be unable to attain enlightenment. Nevertheless, the realization of the one mind, unborn mind, may come after a shorter, I mean, it's one mind here. One mind. Nevertheless, the realization of the one mind may come after a shorter or longer period. There are those who, upon hearing this teaching, rid themselves of conceptual thought in a flash. There are others who do this after following through the 10 beliefs, the 10 stages, the 10 activities, and the 10 bestowals of merit. Yet others accomplish it after passing through the 10 stages of a bodhisattva's progress. But whether they transcend conceptual thought by a longer or shorter way, the result is a state of being. There is no pious practicing and no action of realizing. That there is nothing which can be attained is not idle talk, it is the truth. Moreover, whether you accomplish your aim in a single flash of thought, or after going through the 10 stages of a bodhisattva's progress, the achievement will be the same, for this state of being amidst of no degrees. So the latter method merely entails aeons of unnecessary suffering and toil. So it's like, yeah, I mean, it's pretty well put there, to be honest. So you can do all that shit, but you still just end up doing the same thing. Yeah, you're saving yourself the difficulty, just instead of just realize mad. Yeah, thank you, Hangpo, for the teachings. And thanks, Yuhei. Yeah, you're great too. Yeah, conceptual thought is just thought which is like connected to some kind of idea that mind isn't unborn. I love the smell of old books. Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Oh, I love Zen. What are the Zen stuff do I have around? Oh, plenty, it's also good. Okay, everyone, I'm feeling a little booze. There was serious teaching today that was done. I think I'm gonna head out. Love the rain stream, thank you, no problem. See you guys in a bit. Oh, you get pretty boomed out reading that shit, man. Jesus.